It's back to school for Rosalie and her twin sister, Violette, in a Montreal high school where they feel safe. But the future of the twins at Centennial Academy is at stake. Because of Jordan's principle, the Canadian government has been subsidizing Rosalie's tuition fees for 2 years and Violette's for 3 years. This year, one of the twins may have to change schools. Noémie Vincent, the mother of the twins, is awaiting the program's confirmation.
Mais là, finalement, on a eu l'information au milieu de l'été qu'on n'aurait pas la nouvelle à temps. Ce qui fait que là, on s'est retrouvés vraiment mal pris parce que qu'est-ce qu'on fait? Là, nos filles, on les a quand même fait commencer l'école là-bas parce qu'on souhaite de tout cœur qu'elles puissent continuer là-bas.
The twins have struggled in school ever since they were little.
On a eu des difficultés d'apprentissage qui ont été diagnostiquées, troubles d'attention, anxiété.
The twins' parents searched high and low before finding a school suited to the needs of their daughters.
On a fini par trouver une école incroyable. Ça donne que c'est dans le domaine privé, mais ça a complètement changé nos vies. C'est sûr qu'il y a un coût à ça. Puis quand on a su que le principe de Jordan pouvait financer ça, sincèrement, j'ai versé une larme tellement j'étais soulagée. Ça a complètement tout changé. Ils sont heureuses, sont motivées, l'anxiété est descendue.
For many parents, this year, the responses to Jordan's principal grant applications are coming late. The family must find a plan B in order to be able to cover the monthly tuition fees.
Moi, ça m'inquiète parce que l'école coûte cher, puis comme je sais que c'est vraiment dur à payer.
C'est sûr qu'il y a une des deux jumelles qui a plus de difficultés que l'autre. Fait que celle qui a plus de difficultés, on va essayer de tout faire pour pouvoir la laisser à cette école-là, comme je dis. Peut-être prendre un prêt, peut-être demander à la famille.
Ici, j'ai toutes mes amies, puis je comprends bien les cours et tout, puis ben là, ça se peut que je parte, puis j'ai pas envie.
This puts the mother in a delicate spot.
Ça me brise le cœur de me dire qu'elle serait séparée.
Vincent looked into the list of schools that offer support for kids with special needs.
Sinon, on nous dit, ben, il y a les écoles publiques. Pour l'avoir essayé dans le passé, ma fille, ça l'a mis en dépression là, parce que c'était trop pour elle.
She's an Indigenous person also from BC.
The Mohawk Council of Ganawage took a stand when it learned that funds from Jordan's principal would be delayed due to legal and administrative delays.
We had a discussion around it, and what we decided was that we were going to address the most urgent needs first, and that came to, I believe it was 25 students.
The council adopted an exceptional emergency measure to cover tuition fees for the current year for an amount of more than $325,000, pending a full reimbursement of the program. Vincent reacted to learning about their decision.
Tu dis, wow, ça veut dire qu'ils croient au potentiel de ces élèves-là. C'est que c'est sûr qu'on pousse dans ce sens-là. On aimerait ça avoir juste un plan B. Est-ce qu'on peut avoir une solution, même si c'est juste une partie qui pourrait nous aider?
Vincent also sent in a request to her nation, Wendake. She explains that the council's hands are tied. The grant application was sent, but they are also waiting for a response.
Mais quand on appelle, les gens se relancent la balle.
The federal minister responsible for Jordan's principal, Mandy Golmasti, was unable to respond to the request for comment before deadline. The inaction of the government worries Vincent.
Là, si en plus le gouvernement vient nous couper les possibilités d'envoyer nos enfants là, ils nous mettent pas une autre solution devant nous. On n'a juste pas de solution. Puis je trouve ça plate de tout de suite dire, ben c'est voué à l'échec. Mes filles vont juste décrocher de l'école finalement, jamais avoir leur diplôme, être déprimées là-dedans. On n'a vraiment pas envie de vivre ça comme parents, là, c'est sûr.
As time runs out, Vincent does not know how the tuition fees will be paid and is worried. The twins may be separated. Stéphanie Desèvres, APTN National News, Montreal.
It's the beginning of another school year for students at Thunder Bay's Dennis Franklin Cromartie High School. And for many first-year students, it's their first time being away from home. The school, often referred to as DFC, hosts students from First Nations communities across Ontario, and officials at the school want to make the transition as easy as possible. APTN's Mike McDonald reports.
You guys want to eat first or do the groups first? What do you want to do?
It's day one of orientation for Dennis Franklin Cromartie students. Today's activity is called the DFC Amazing Race, and it's designed to help newcomers to Thunder Bay find their way around. DFC's transition coordinator says there are at least 2 challenges that students face in their first days at school.
I mean, homesickness is a big one. Eventually that'll happen when they're away from family for quite a long period of time. But right off the hop, we definitely want to make sure that they are familiar with the transit system. It's their primary way to get around town, so we definitely make sure that's a priority right off the hop.
Students made their way through Thunder Bay's waterfront, making stops at various information stations. Elder Sam Achny-Peniscum was there to share stories with the students. He says it's something he looks forward to every year.
It's always good to talk to the young people, and you see, when you live here, you see a lot of things that happen to the young people that come here. So hopefully that we remind them to be safe and to take care of themselves while they're here, and to remember why they're here. You know, going to school.
Over at DFC, various workshops are underway, including this one with Canadian pop music group Neon Dreams, who also performed at this year's Wake the Giant Music Festival. At the other end of the school, Thielen Kignosway is putting on a hoop dancing demonstration.
We've always been gathering for generations and generations, and now we're able to do it at such a huge scale. You know, we're inviting youth from many different communities, and you know, we're able to gather here and, you know, be able to share our culture in good ways, and, you know, be able to learn from one another. So I think that's what it's all about.
Back at Marina Park, local skateboarders are showing off their tricks to the DFC students. The president of the Thunder Bay Skateboarding Coalition says he wants Indigenous students to feel welcome here.
It's a way to get some of the First Nation youth to show what's going on in our community, make sure they feel included, and the skate park's a big part of that. It's a place where the youth can gather and at their own pace, and everybody's welcome. Doesn't matter race, gender, income level, anything like that. Everybody is welcome here at the skate park, and we just want to make sure that they're aware of that and then that they're welcome here.
Having been through it all before, these DFC seniors have some advice for this year's juniors.
Stay with your friends because they will help you a lot, and you know, if your guys are really close, they'll feel like family. And keep in touch with your family too, because that's also helps with the homesickness too. And just try to have fun while you're here.
Don't be scared. If you need help, just ask for help, like for physical support, mental support. Even if you need help for work, homework, like tutoring.
Really, you just have to put yourself out there. Like, don't isolate yourself. Don't be shy. You have to get comfortable being uncomfortable. And if you don't put yourself out there, people aren't always just gonna put it on a silver platter for you and just give it to you. Like, you have to get it yourself. You have to work for yourself. I mean, that's how our ancestors did it.
And like many returning students, Kakapitam has her go-to destinations when returning to Thunder Bay for school.
When I first got in, I went straight to Tim Hortons. Yeah, I love my Timbits and tea.
Mike McDonald, APTN National News, Thunder Bay.
Moose hunting season begins next year. Moose hunting season begins next week near Bloodvein River First Nation in eastern Manitoba. But non-Indigenous hunters pursuing the sacred animal will be turned away at check stops managed by the community in an effort to protect the moose population and their food security. Bloodvein River First Nation Chief Lisa Young says the decision to ban non-Indigenous people from hunting moose in the area comes after years of overhunting by big game enthusiasts. She says results of the 2024 aerial survey by the Manitoba government confirms the moose population is critically low in some areas of their traditional territory and only stable in others. Hunting organizations in Manitoba are calling for the province to intervene and force the community to allow non-Indigenous hunters through. Angela Levasseur is the chief of Nissequoyasik Cree Nation, around 450 kilometers northwest of Bloodvein. She says the moose overhunting issue affects many First Nations across the province.
We rely on the moose, on the caribou. We rely on the fish for food security to sustain ourselves, as my fellow leaders has indicated, and yet we're being subjected to violent, racist comments, threats of violence for protecting what little we have left. In my view, that's outrageous, it's unacceptable, and it comes from a place of ethnocentrism. We rely on the moose population and my nation and many other Treaty 5 nations and other nations as well for sustenance and survival. It's not a game for us, it's a way of life.
Make sure to tune in tomorrow where we will have more on this story for you. Time for a break, but first here's a sneak peek of what's coming out of Alberta in the coming days.
I'm Chris Stewart. The Lakeland Centre for Fetal Alcohol Spectrum Disorder in Cold Lake, Alberta held a mocktail challenge this week to raise awareness of FASD. Businesses in the city competed to find the best tasting non-alcoholic drinks. And the centre says the disorder affects well over 1 million Canadians.
FASD affects 4% of the Canadian population. We here at the Lakeland Centre support FASD from prevention, diagnosis, and interventions services. We believe that with the right interventions, the right support, people with FASD can thrive.
That's coming up in the following days.
Pitigwe, a mineral exploration company, has started drilling at the first Indigenous-owned mine in Canada. The Minto Mine, a copper, gold, silver mine located 240 kilometers north of Whitehorse, was abandoned by Minto Metals in 2023 after it ran into financial problems. Following a court-ordered receivership, the Selkirk First Nation fully purchased the site in June for just over $6 million. The First Nation partnered with natural resource company Venerable Ventures to assess the feasibility of restarting production. The 50,000-meter drilling program is focused on the expansion of known resources and upgrading geoscience data, among other things. A feasible study is slated to be released in 2027. Hydro-Quebec has returned to conduct a geological assessment for the proposed Gull Island hydroelectric project after it was suspended in July. The survey was halted this summer when Innu community members set up a roadblock to prevent workers from entering the site. The Innu say they were not consulted and Gull Island is traditional Innu lands. Hydro-Quebec is offering the Innu Nation an $87 million deal over 16 years toward a reconciliation fund. Community members from the Sheshashit and Natwashish First Nation will vote to accept or refuse the deal. But some Innu members feel they were misrepresented by Innu leadership. For more on this, we're joined by Jerome Jack. Thank you, Jerome, for speaking with us. I guess, what is your reaction when Hydro-Quebec surveys started up again after the suspension?
Well, I was appalled by it, very, very distraught, and I couldn't see why Hydro-Quebec is pushing forward when the communities of Natwashish and Sheshashit haven't given up any rights or given any consent to have this project go ahead or do any surveys. Yet they haven't given any consent to Quebec Hydro. And I feel Innu Nation, the governing body of Labrador for the Innu people, the First Nations, hasn't been representing the Innu people very well or accordingly as they're supposed to be. And the only thing I believe would be good for Innu Nation right now is the leaders and the negotiation team step down immediately and have this panel removed. Because a lot of the people in the community are not supporting the idea of the project going ahead or the offer being accepted by the communities.
Has there been any discussions with community members, Innu leadership, and Hydro-Quebec, and when does the community vote on this deal?
The Innu Nation hasn't provided any dates for the ratification yet, and they're still doing meetings behind closed doors and not informing people like what the discussions of the meeting with Quebec Hydro could be. Like, they're not asking the community for any input on anything. They're deciding on their own without consent, and to me that feels like a huge stab in the back for the people. And this knife should be removed from the back, because that's not proper leadership for my communities. Because I see a lot of the community members resorting to saying we, the communities, and the Innu people of the communities are demanding a general election and the removal of the immediate removal of the negotiation team for Innu Nation.
You know, what impact would this project have on traditional Innu lands and community members?
Well, the impact would be very, very drastic, and it would destroy the livelihood of Labrador. As we see, many of my people are still hunting and fishing and camping, gathering, and the idea of a project destroying a land where the communities of Labrador have a community gathering, that's very close to the project. And for people to hear heavy equipment going on while that campground is still there, heavy equipment going around, explosives going off just so that the project can do some work. I think that's very disturbing, and to see native land being destroyed like that, because you're destroying native land, destroying the environment, and you're also damaging the wildlife in that area. And a lot of people feel that that shouldn't be the process Hydro-Quebec should be taking. They should be doing more consultations instead of rushing Innu people to vote yes on the ratification day, by giving them so little time. I do believe they're going to have the ratification in October or end of September, but they haven't set a date yet. And for a former minister, Mr. Pastor, to negotiate such a rush process is very demeaning to the Innu people.
Jerome, we'll have to leave it there, but thank you for keeping us updated on this issue.
Yes, thank you.
Stick around, we'll have more after a quick break. Welcome back. Time now for our photo of the day. According to James Moore, this little fellow was spotted in the same tree for 2 straight days, but was eventually reunited with its mother. Thanks for sharing, James. Keep those pictures coming to share at aptn.ca for the chance to be featured as our next photo of the day. Now let's take a look at tomorrow's weather forecast. Starting on the east coast, Charlottetown 22, Fredericton 23. Kuujjuaq 11, La Grande River 10. Chibougamau 13, Quebec City 20. Ottawa 23, Sault Ste. Marie 21. Kapuskasing 13, Wawa 18. Thompson 25, The Pas 28. Barons River 22, Brandon 24. North Battleford 24, Swift Current 27. Uranium City 21, Buffalo Narrows 23. Moving west, High Level 27, Peace River 28. Edmonton 29, Red Deer 27. Kamloops 30, Vancouver 17. Smithers 21, Prince Rupert 14. Rock River 7, Mayo 13. Norman Wells 19, Fort Simpson 27. Tuktoyaktuk 8, Colville Lake 12. Cambridge Bay 8, Baker Lake also 8. Arctic Bay 0, Igloo Lake 3 degrees. The Bonnyville Agricultural Society and the Kiwewin Cree Nation in Alberta finished 2 days of Indian relay over the weekend, and APTN's Chris Stewart took in the action.
Hey, guys ready? Indian horse relay races are not your typical race. It needs a team to help a rider exchange horses after every lap. It's fast and dangerous, and the crowds love it. And this past weekend, the crowd got to see riders across treaties 6, 7, and 8 compete in men's, women's, and youth races.
Yeah, it went really good. We banged our exchanges. There was a big accident at our last exchange. We ran over some people. We ended up taking first.
And the youth really loved the challenge of relay.
We have 2 teams. I came first, and then her team over there, she came second. But I have to finish it.
That's pretty good.
Our teams are Ida Relay and JJ Newsometh.
Can I have your names?
I'm Faye. I'm Tatum.
Last names?
Jackson. And I'm Taya Jackson.
And where are you from?
Goodfish. Saddle Lake.
This elder was there to support her family competing.
The little ones are racing and we're watching them and it's exciting. They're learning.
You're going to be champions one day?
Oh yes, already they are today.
If you have not seen Indian relay races in person, put it on your calendar. Chris Stewart, APTN National News, Bonnyville, Alberta.
Cool story. New York Fashion Week kicks off on Thursday and runs until September 16th. Relative Arts NYC will be hosting the first ever Indigenous New York Fashion Week in the city's East Village, with 23 Indigenous designers lined up to be featured in showcases. Designers, directors, producers, and makeup artists have been working hard to set up the runway. This show follows the success of the second annual Native Fashion Week that took place in Santa Fe this May. This year has been one for the books for Indigenous fashion designers that are gaining recognition. Relative Arts in East Village of New York City says the inaugural Indigenous New York Fashion Week is taking place September 11th to 16th with runways at the Grace Exhibition Space and Lenapehoking. New York's Fashion Week begins tomorrow, and Relative Arts says the week is filled with programming that showcases Indigenous creativity across all disciplines, along with nonstop entertainment and celebrations. Looks like we are all out of time for this Wednesday's newscast. Check us out tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern. I'm TR Wheatley. Thanks for being around. Agase Maga.